All right, so it's time to talk about what in the hell just happened with Hillary Clinton, the FBI reopening the investigation after they said we didn't find anything. We found some stuff, but we recommend not doing anything. You know, she should be in prison, but we recommend not doing anything. We're closing the investigation. And everyone said, hey, yeah, and he said, well, look, we don't have intent. Intent's really hard to prove, and we don't know if there's intent here. For that reason, we're not going to prosecute. We're not going to recommend any kind of prosecution. Okay. And then all of a sudden, it's revealed. Not only did she have the emails wiped off her server, she got the subpoena in advance of making that decision, telling her, do not get rid of that information. She then gave the order, get rid of the information, wipe it clean. That, my friends, is intent. When you start to look at the other emails coming out now, there's absolutely intent for sure, not including her getting the subpoena and then her doing that, giving the order, get rid of that stuff. And of course, the congressman asked the FBI, why did you give blanket immunity to all these people surrounding this case? These are people that we could potentially prosecute, and you're just handing out immunity like it's candy. So why on earth, after dealing with that charade, nonsense, would the FBI all of a sudden do a complete 180-degree turnaround and say we're reopening the investigation? Here's something interesting I read today. The Department of Justice with Obama basically saying the FBI wanted to subpoena the laptop of Anthony Weiner. Now, Anthony Weiner is or was married to Huma Abedin, who is Hillary's right-hand woman. She's the one who was on the plane like Friday, and they landed somewhere, and when the plane took off again, she was nowhere to be found. And the news media tweeted when they landed again, and they had internet connection or whatever. Remember, the internet went out. Hillary's plane, internet quit working. We just landed, says the news guy. We just landed. The Wi-Fi wasn't working. Been working the whole time except for now. We just landed. First I can report this. Huma is not on the plane. We're not sure. When we got off on such and such, when we stopped there, that's the last time we saw her. So there's something serious about this, in my opinion. Huma would not be concerned if this was just, look, we got the FBI in our back pocket. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. They're not going to find anything. They're not. The problem is, if that was the case, why did they reopen the investigation? Now, you might argue and say, well, they might reopen it to say, look, the people have been pounding on them. And I'm reading today that, I'm going to read this article to you. This is mainstream media out of the UK, Daily Mail, okay? Why FBI Director Comey jumped at the chance to reopen Hillary investigation. They're going to talk about this, but here's the bullet points. James Comey revived the investigation of Clinton's email server as he could no longer resist mounting pressure by mutinous agents, sources say. Mutiny. We're the FBI. We're trying to do good here, and none of you will let us. Here's my resignation. I'm out. The atmosphere at the FBI has been toxic ever since James, announced last July that he wouldn't recommend an indictment against Hillary. This previous July, as in a few months ago. He told his wife that he was depressed by the stack of resignation letters piling up on his desk from disaffected agents. Comey was also worried that Republicans would accuse him of granting Hillary political favoritism after the presidential election. When new emails allegedly linked to Hillary's personal server turned up in Abedin and Anthony Weiner's computer, Comey jumped at the excuse. So that's what they're saying here. So the Department of Justice, the FBI, wanted to get to Anthony Weiner's computer, laptop, to investigate the allegations of him, again, showing his body, whatever, to a 15-year-old undercover girl, whatever, or maybe it was a real girl and they told on him. I don't know the whole story, honestly. I've already forgotten about that because that's nonsense to me right now. This moron kept doing that. But I did not know, only up until when that came back out again with this 15-year-old. I was like, oh, not that idiot again. I didn't know he was married to Huma Abedin. Hillary's right-hand woman. I had no idea about. I did not know that was his wife. And then I started reading, oh, that's it. She's had enough. She's divorcing him, and they're going to get separated and yada, yada. So I don't know if right this second that's finalized, they're actually separated and divorced, whatever, or not. Doesn't really matter. The point being, FBI asked him, asked to get a subpoena, warrant, so that they could go get the laptop from his possession. They asked the Department of Justice for a, can you get us to get a, can you give us permission, essentially, warrant to go get this laptop? Now, number one, they're investigating this guy for this whole sexting thing with the 15-year-old girl. But I think they've come to realize there's more on there than just that. We want some other information that's on there, not that nonsense. And maybe that's nonsense to them. They're denied, and this is allegedly, they're allegedly denied by the Department of Justice permission or a warrant to go grab that laptop. Lo and behold, Anthony Weiner says, I will give you the laptop without a warrant. You can have it. So they took it. And now allegedly there's 650,000 emails to go through. And here's what I'm thinking, because I've had a few people email me. Joe, do you think, Paul Ryan's going to take, because Speaker of the House, if who's in charge or who's in line, yada, yada, yada. It would be him if Hillary, if he lets Hillary in other words, they don't indict her yet. They let her in. She wins the presidency. Then they go after her. Now she's impeached. She's gone. Then he can get in. And then old Rat Ryan's running things. And I said, well, that's a good analysis. That's a potential outcome. However, I said, what does Hillary Clinton's behavior, allegations, being charged, whatever it turns into, have to do with her vice president? Just because she goes down doesn't mean the vice president goes down with her. So if they indict her, that doesn't mean Tim Kaine's being indicted, right? So he would take over. So I said, that doesn't sound right to me. And I replied that, I don't think that's the case because here's why. And I explained that. But, so they're looking at these 650,000 emails. What I started to think about after seeing this, this weekend, and then, Saturday, today's Sunday again, I'm doing this video, it's 8:30 p.m. Eastern time right now. And I said to myself, I wonder, and what's the legality, and how would it go? But not that legality means anything to Obama and Club, and anyways. What's the legality if they indicted her this close to the election? In other words, we're filing charges, we're going after you. You can't run for president now. And maybe they'll finally, it'll go to court, and they'll, you'll find that she's not guilty, she's let off. But not before having to step down, before she can even have a chance to get in office. So if Obama were to come out, for example, and say, listen, we're investigating, we're reopening investigation, American people, we've heard you, we understand you're upset, we do have some information, and yes, the FBI is going to go ahead and, make it sound like he was okay with it. We're going to reinvestigate. Secretary Clinton's going to stand up. Due to this investigation, abruptly will stand down, and I'm not going to run. And then Obama, I'm just thinking out loud here, could say something like, due to the fact that we no longer have a running opponent to Donald Trump, we need to postpone the elections just a little bit longer so that the Democrats can have their fair share of getting a person in there, and we need to gather a majority of the delegates together according to the DNC rules, bylaws, for them, not you, not us, them to decide who we want to replace her with. And then we'll find out that the time has come and gone. They couldn't get the delegates. They're having trouble. We're going to have to extend the elections a little longer, maybe. We can kind of do what they're doing in France. Mr. Holland, or whatever his name is. Terror attack and the Bataclan Theater, and we need martial law powers. Yeah, but they're only good for 6 weeks. We're already writing a law to extend it for 6 months or longer, and they did extend it. That's how they're rolling over there in France at the moment. So you could see where something like this, they might try it. Again, I don't know the legality there's nothing that says there has to be a Democrat to run against a Republican. All we know is if you want to run for president, whatever party you're affiliated with or not, if you're an independent, Republican, Democrat, doesn't matter. You got to file your paperwork, yada, 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 and you're on the ballot. However, it doesn't say if one person jumps out at the last minute for any reason, whether they're indicted or they just quit or they, drop dead. It doesn't say you get to postpone the elections so that that particular party can find a replacement. Nope, it's going to just go forward. That's how it should go. But I'm just thinking about this. Why in God's name would they reopen the investigation Friday, less than 2 weeks? I mean, we've got, when you see this video, it'll be the 31st, so you got 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. You have literally 8 days until the election. And they choose right now to reopen this. There's something, again, nothing happens by chance. And I'm going to have to call out Bix Weir again. Because he posted an email, sent an email out. I told you guys, people think that there's not good guys, there's only bad guys. I told you, there are good guys, and you just saw it with the reopening of the case. The FBI. I'm thinking to myself, if there were good guys, why did they close it in the first place and then reopen it again? Why didn't they just do it the first time? This makes no sense. Everything happens for a reason. I do not believe there's good guys in here going to take out the bad guys. It has never happened. These people are infested in every high position of power. They've all been appointed to positions. You will never vote the ones out that count. Those are appointed by the president. I'm sorry to tell you. I'm sorry, that is incorrect. So, why did they do this now? We're going to find out. We have, 9 days right now. Currently 9. To find out exactly why they did that in the first place. We're going to find out. The problem I have, that's like, making me think, well, maybe there is something to this. Maybe there are some good guys that are trying, is the look on Huma Abedi. Let me pause this and see if I can find it online real quick. The moment when they heard on that flight, they're reopening the investigation, and now you're involved because your husband's involved. He gave them the laptop with all these 600-something thousand emails on it. Again, if a face can speak, a picture can speak 1,000 words. Wait till you see this. I'm going to find it. Hang on. All right, so take a gander at this. This was on the flight, Hillary Clinton's plane. Look at Hillary's face and look at Huma. That is a look of, oh crap. This is not good. Her eyes look a little bit teary if you don't, I don't mind saying so myself. Like, oh crap, I'm in trouble. And Hillary looking at her like, we're in trouble. I mean, that's not the Hillary when she's, debating Donald Trump. It's not this face. Or when she walked off the plane. No, not that face either. This is a, oh crap face. So, when I see that, this tells me there's a problem, and they're not happy with it. And this isn't some kind of get out of jail free this time. There is something with meat here. So I'm not so sure exactly what has happened. And about the whole Department of Justice blocking it, here from Zero Hedge already covered this yesterday. Today. 650,000 emails found on Anthony Weiner's laptop. Department of Justice blocked Foundation probe. So what I was going to say about this, though, is back on the whole Obama, if he even tries to come out, we need to postpone the elections a little bit. And here would be a good reason why. Not that I would agree with it at all. Let me take a swig of the old man's heart medicine. Which is actually some of this core organic flavored water stuff. It's actually pretty good stuff. Peach mango. So picture this. Listen, guys, we've got to postpone the elections just a little bit. We want to give all opponents a fair chance to run, and we need to be fair to Hillary Clinton. If she is about to be indicted by chance from this investigation, and she can't run for office, okay? If she's not going to be indicted, then she can run for office. Guys, there's 650,000 new emails. It's going to take us a little while to go through these. So I think we need to postpone the elections just a little bit longer to give Hillary the fair share. And we would, in all fairness, we would have done the same for Donald Trump, which you know they wouldn't. And we'd do the same for the independents, Jill Stein and Gary Johnson. Well, yeah, I'm sure you would. You know, so I can almost see them using that as an excuse if they say something like this. Again, but what's the legality? I don't think there is such a thing. You can't just extend the elections in this country like that. Now, if by chance the power went out somewhere, certain regions had no power, well, got to extend the elections. People can't vote. Everyone who can vote, we see their votes. But those who can't vote, we don't see your votes. And it's only fair because, you know, the East Coast is having problems. You know, who knows what the hell these people are willing to do. Normally, they just rig the machines. They don't have to deal, you know, they're not thinking, well, we got to shut the power out. So, you know, no. We're rigging the machines. Everything's going to work as normal. This time around, it's different. So, again, if that's all still planned, why is this investigation being reopened? And I will say this. Now that it's reopened, and I showed you the look on their faces. That's an oh crap look. Is it possible that the Webbot, with its absolutely incredibly insane prediction that they're going to be changing out the racehorse on the Democratic Party, might actually happen? Could you imagine hearing in the next few days, like this, as in this week, due to the investigation and allegations, guys, all my supporters, I want to thank you. I'm going to step aside and deal with this at this moment. Maybe next time around 4 years, I'll run again. We'll get through this. Stay strong. Yada yada yada. And by the way, thanks for the multi millions of dollars that I get to keep once I step down from office. And since I'm already stepped down from office, I get to keep it all. Appreciate that. And then they got to replace the person. And again, it's up to the DNC and their delegates to just have a super vote. Who are we going to vote for, guys? Who do we want to be replacing Hillary? My question, though, would be, if that happens, are these idiots going to try and say, well, all the votes that went to Hillary automatically go to this person? Like, is there a rule or law that states if someone steps down as a major party, you know, chosen person, such as Hillary, Democrats, that any votes already, like the early voting votes that went to her, goes to this new person all of a sudden? Is there some, I don't know the answer, so if someone happens to know that for sure, just say so in the comments. But there's so much going on, and here's the thing. The Webbots, he called it. You're going to get ready for an explosive times coming. Extremely exciting, good or bad reasons, will be coming and surrounding this election. Remember what he was saying around the 18th or 19th, you know, plus or minus a few days, whatever, that it was like a real hot date. And that was one of the days when I think Veritas started uploading the videos, this first series, then the second series, then the third series. And that was absolutely devastating. All the media, we can't vouch for these videos. We don't know if they're doctored or... Are you kidding me? This is undercover camera footage with these people's faces, mouths moving, words coming out. We might be, you know, could be tricked, you know, effects used. We can't vouch for that. And since we can't vouch for that, we're not going to... Since when? What was that old song? Dirty Laundry? Well, I should have been a rock star, but I wound up here. They give you dirty laundry. That's all. The media, any dirty laundry, we want it. Unless it's on our candidate, our club member, Hillary Clinton. Then we don't pay attention to it, and we tell you that we can't vouch for it. And since we can't vouch for it, don't listen to it. Since when do you mainstream media people vouch for anything? Most of the crap you spew is made up. And you just run with it like it's real news. And again, where does it come from? Associated Press and Reuters. That's your news feed. And since these videos didn't come from there, I guess it's not true. I don't know where this is going. I had a flashback of here I go again on my own. Don't know where this is going. Oh, what was that? Don't know where I'm going. Only God knows where I've been. Here I go again on my own. Sorry about that. I'm having like post-traumatic 80s flashback syndrome. Sorry about that. But I just don't know where this is going. I don't know why they would do this right now. It makes no sense right now to do this. And the Department of Justice is saying, let me just read you the zero hedge. Yesterday, we reported that FBI has found tens of thousands of emails belonging to Huma Abedin on Anthony Weiner's computer, raising questions how practical it is that any conclusive finding will be available or made by the FBI in a few days left before the elections. Now, according to the Wall Street Journal, it appears federal agents are preparing to scour roughly 650,000 emails that, as we reported moments ago, were just discovered weeks ago on the laptop of Anthony Weiner, to see how many relate to a prior probe of Hillary Clinton's email use. As metadata on the device suggests, there may be thousands sent to or from the private server that the Democratic nominee used while she was Secretary of State, according to people familiar with the matter. The review will take weeks at a minimum to determine whether those messages are work-related emails between Huma and, which is a close Hillary aide, and the estranged wife of Mr. Weiner. The State Department officials how many are duplicates of emails already reviewed by the FBI, and whether they include either classified information or important new evidence in the Clinton email probe, which FBI officials call mid-year. As we further reported earlier today, the FBI had to await a court order to begin reviewing the emails because they were uncovered in an unrelated probe of Mr. Weiner, and that order was delayed for reasons that remain unclear. More stunning is just how many emails were found on Weiner's computer, and while one can only imagine the content of some of the more personal ones, the Wall Street Journal writes that the latest development began in early October when New York-based FBI officials notified Andrew McCabe, the Bureau's second-in-command, that while investigating Mr. Weiner for possible sending sexually charged messages to a minor, they had recovered a laptop with 650,000 emails. Many, they said, were from the accounts of Miss Abedin, according to people familiar with the matter. Trying to find where it said. At a meeting early last week, senior Justice Department FBI officials, a member of the department's senior national security staff, asked for an update on the Weiner laptop. The people familiar with the matter said, at that point, officials realized that no one had acted to obtain a warrant. These people said. Mr. McCabe then instructed the email investigators to talk to the Weiner investigators to see whether the laptop's contents could be relevant to the Clinton email probe. Those people said after the investigators spoke, the agents agreed it was potentially relevant. Mr. Comey was given an update, decided to go forward with the case, and notify Congress on Friday with explosive results. Senior Justice Department officials had warned Mr. Comey that telling Congress would violate well-established policies against overt actions that could affect an election, and some within the FBI have been unhappy at Mr. Comey's repeated public statements on the probe, going back to his first press conference on the subject in July. But wait, it gets better. Recall that this is the same Andrew McCabe whose wife, the Wall Street Journal reported last week, received $467,500 in campaign funds in late 2015 from the Political Action Committee of Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, a longtime ally of the Clintons, and until he was elected governor in November 2013, a Clinton Foundation board member. Mr. McAuliffe had supported Dr. McCabe in the hopes she had a handful of other Democrats that helped win a majority in the state Senate, giving Mr. McAuliffe more sway in the state capitol. Dr. McCabe lost her race last November, and Democrats failed to win their majority. FBI officials have said Mr. McCabe had no role in the Clinton email probe until he became deputy director, and there was no conflict of interest, of course, because by then his wife's campaign was over anyways. Which brings us to the second big topic, the Clinton Foundation, and how the Department of Justice made sure that particular probe never made the light of day. At the same time as the Clinton server was being investigated, other Clinton-related investigations were underway within the FBI, and they have been the subject of internal debate for months. Earlier this year, 4 FBI field offices, New York, Los Angeles, Washington, and Little Rock, Arkansas, were collecting Little Rock, Arkansas. You mean old Bill's and Hillary's old town? We're collecting information about the Clinton Foundation to see if there was evidence of financial crimes or influence peddling, according to people familiar with the matter. The Wall Street Journal touches on something fascinating. Los Angeles agents had picked up information about the Clinton Foundation from an unrelated public corruption case and had issued some subpoenas for bank records related to the foundation, these people said. So where did that trial go? Or where did that trail go? Apparently nowhere. The Washington field office was probing financial relationships. Yada, yada, yada. I've been waiting to see where it got to the point where the warrant thing, but maybe they're not covering it on this particular article in Zero Hedge. And I want to share I gotta share this with you. This is a rally, a very recent rally for Hillary Clinton. This has got to be the most ridiculously small group of anybody I've ever seen in my entire life at one of her rallies, and she was supposed to be there, I believe. This was her rally, not the VP, if I recall. Check this out. What in the hell is that? I feel like I've had more kids over here in my house playing than that. And you're running for president? The third-party candidates have more people showing up than that. For goodness sakes. So I'm ending this video with the final message of why did they do this right now? Why did they do this now? Is it possible, I thought about this, is it possible that WikiLeaks or whoever, like WikiLeaks, have some dirt on some other very high people and are essentially saying, looky what we got. Remember those little encrypted keys and things WikiLeaks was just putting out? Like, no one knew what they were. Why is he doing that? What does that mean? Was he saying to them, go look at that little file that we know you downloaded from our site that's encrypted. Go take a peek at it. And then they open it and say, oh my God, the stuff that they have on us will put us in prison. And all they're asking us to do is go after this one corrupt person, Hillary Clinton. Guys, there's been a change of plans, effective immediately. We are reopening this case. Because not only is she going to go down, we're all going to go down. And we're not going to have that. So we're going to take her out. Is it possible that something like that happened? Sure. Probable? Debatable. But damn it, we're going to find out in at least 8 days or less. Take care.